This episode of the Hidden City Podcast is brought to you by Oak Cliff Pilates. Oak Cliff Pilates has been here in the neighborhood for a while. They have locations here in Bishop Arts, also in Uptown, and they're an awesome spot and community. Check them out. Go to oakcliffpilates.com to sign up for a membership, or you could also sign up for their package of 3 classes. Our listeners get $10 off of membership, so with the code HIDDEN. So check it out. It's oakcliffpilates.com.
At the beginning, it just feels like you don't want anyone on your Instagram or your Facebook, old high school friends, old whatever, you want to prove them wrong. You look at my store. Like, I mean, we're human. Like, you have these feelings, and like it's like pride.
For sure.
And
it's pride,
like,
yeah.
and it really kills people.
Welcome to the Hidden City Podcast. I'm Grant.
And I'm Doug, and we're here to share some of the incredible stories and people from Oak Cliff that you might not know.
We're going to sit down with some of the visionaries, craftsmen, and business owners who have shaped Oak Cliff into what it is today.
Oak Cliff is on the south bank of the Trinity River, a few miles south of downtown Dallas. While technically it was part of Dallas, it was its own city for a long time, and it still has that independent spirit.
We'll dive into the history and the spirit of this place, exploring the different challenges and successes that defined it.
This is The Hidden City, a podcast about the people and the stories that make Oak Cliff extraordinary. Welcome to this episode of the Hidden City Podcast. Today we have with us Steven Salter of Salter Pottery, and Dallas Observer's Best Ceramicist of the Year. He's in the space, and man, we're excited you're here. Thanks for being in the studio.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Hey, well, to start off, how did you first get into pottery?
I'm going to give you the long version.
Let's hear it.
We're here for a podcast.
Yep.
So I found it very randomly, and I was in college, and I was basically observing a friend that was in the class, and he was like, I got to go make some plates. And I was like, cool, I want to go with you. And I just saw him make it, his name's Kevin. Hi, Kevin.
Shout out to Kevin.
What's up,
Yeah,
Kevin?
he was my first intro, like really, and I still have a plate from him and everything. And he was like truly my first, like, wow, how
That's
everyone
cool.
has
Yeah.
that moment
Yeah.
with pottery.
100%.
Yeah.
It's mesmerizing and is really pretty. And when you first see it, it really is like, wow.
It's an object.
And
It's
like I had
something-
that moment.
yeah.
So, and then after that, I was like, cool, I'm going to sign up next semester. And it's like a really tight class. And I got in, and then I did semester with Julie Blackstone. She has passed away last year to cancer.
Okay.
Which is very sad. But she was an excellent all-around artist, good potter, good fiber artist, good painter, good everything. She kind of like ran the department at OBU, Oklahoma Baptist. Went to school.
Nice.
I had sports there and all that. And
What sport did you play? Sorry to cut you off.
no, you're good. I did football, and then the first couple years, I did track.
Nice. Very
And
cool.
then threw shot and disc. I did not run.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah,
Shot
so-
disc. Yeah.
But I was there, and then I took like your intro class, and we can get into it, but college class is not the same as production pottery at all.
Yeah.
It's not. And that's the whole discussion. But I had my intro, and I wasn't there to learn. I didn't know, like, I want to be a production potter. I want to make a lot of pots. I was just like, this is fun. And it's like a beautiful stage. A lot of people ask, like, they're like, they come into my, later we'll talk about, they'll come and see me wherever I am, and they'll say, they're doing it as a hobby. I'm like, that's a beautiful thing. Like,
The hobby thing's
to have
great.
a hobby.
Yeah.
I have hobbies, and they don't pay me, and I enjoy them a lot.
Yeah.
That's
So,
the nice
like,
thing about a
yeah.
hobby.
Yeah.
When it's a hobby,
Like
you can
that.
just enjoy it for its own
Keep
sake.
it as a hobby
Yeah.
for a little bit and figure it out.
Yeah. Sure.
That's big advice. But I got introduced, and it was like just a class. And then I took another semester, and then in those 2 semesters we had, gas kilns, the technical stuff, but like gas kiln. It was a nice little setup, and like not as immaculate as some colleges are, like insane.
Yeah,
but
I
like
can imagine.
it wasn't a pottery pottery school like that. So, but we had enough to like get the interest kicked. And then I remember it was like right before I was about to graduate, and she comes to me and she says, Julie, and she says, do you think you'll still be able to keep doing this? And I was like, maybe I went to school for video work, so it was like completely it's in the arts, and I still do it, but mostly like with pottery nowadays. But with that, and then I really wanted to be an NFL sideline videographer.
Nice.
Like, still like,
Kind of.
if you got any connections,
Yeah.
if you got any connections, to do something like that. But it's not that I'm like that huge into sports anymore. I played sports. I was like more into that, and then it went to like I want to do motocross filming, and then it went to and then surfing. I always like since a kid I wanted to like film surfing videos. Like I always loved watching them, and we went surf trips growing up, and then like. So, like, I always wanted to film something. And, like, when I was a kid, I had a YouTube channel. It's still up. And I shot that one out. It's kind of embarrassing. But
we'll link
I
to
have,
it in the
like,
show notes.
Yeah, what's that one called?
I'll link a video or
There
two.
we go.
But, like, me on my four-wheeler, like, popping wheelies.
That's
and, like,
awesome.
just, like, little tiny... I could see what I was trying to do kind of thing. But it started with, like, I was, like, always artistic, I guess you would say, and, like, the thought processes and, like, that'd be a cool shot. Or, like, you walk around, like, these kind of things. So that was my direction, and then ceramics. And she was like, "You think you're gonna keep doing it?" I was like, maybe. I didn't know what I wanted to do really. And then
That's like a real open mind. When you're
I
in
guess
college. Like, you're
like,
kind
or
of just
Yeah,
confused.
there you go.
College is a whole nother.
Yeah.
College in the arts, is it worth it?
That
but-
whole conversation. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean we can have it, but
Yeah.
it's not to discourage anyone in art school. But
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's other avenues, and we can talk about that. But that was my interest, and then like I did it for 2 semesters, and by the end I was like throwing some decent sized bowls, like relatively small today, but like then it was like I made that, big heavy brick, and then like so that, and then she said, "Do you think you're going to be able to do it?" And I just noticed I have my AirPods.
Oh, you're good.
You're good. No
I'm very unprofessional.
No, you're good.
Yes. And she was like, "You want to keep doing it?" I was like, "Maybe." And I got home and I moved back with my parents, and then I made a candle in the kitchen out of a pot that I made in school. And my mom was like, "You could sell this stuff." I'm like, "Okay." And then got into selling work way too early.
Okay.
Interesting, okay.
Way too early. It's
In the sense that you weren't hadn't refined or created your look,
not
or
anywhere
like
close.
okay,
Like out of college.
yeah. Selling
Art
stuff.
class,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
And it's just like making money at something like this is hard and takes years, and you put yourself around the right people, and then opportunities started rising. It's not an instant gratification, which I think a lot of this, the world loves and wants, and so like it's not that path. So I started a studio at my grandfather's work shed at my grandmother's house, and my grandfather was still alive at the time, and we renovated it. I didn't really know what I was doing at all. Bought the wrong kiln that was way too big and for the power supply, and just like all these things that if you go to my YouTube channel, you can watch in more in depth. But like just things that I didn't know. I didn't need that. I needed that. It's that kind of thing. So like you're gonna those. I think with any business and any endeavor, as y'all would know, you learn how to do it with little, but you only learn how to you learn how to do things with the things that you like to use. And I think that's with anything.
Yeah.
It could be camera gear, it could be computer choice. You try everything and then you figure it out. It was like that stage, and I think like that's like I have an apprentice, Josh. He's in there right now, and he's on his way. Like he's figuring it out. But he's really consistent. Comes twice a week, and we like trade work for mentorship and
That's
all
cool.
these things. And so he's doing the right thing. He's putting himself in a position to tweak things around someone and give them value too. I think like if you're going to get value out of someone, you need to deliver some value back. And I think that's how we grow. And I think that's missed. I think like that was missed with when I first started. Like I should have, and I didn't know, I should have gone to apprentice first.
Today's show is brought to you by Oak Cliff Brewing Co. Are you interested in unwinding and connecting with neighbors over a great beer? Then go visit Oak Cliff Brewing Co. They've got a great tap room with all sorts of great beers on tap. It's a full production brewery here in the heart of Oak Cliff. Visit oakcliffbrewing.com to find out what's on tap right now and where you can find fresh beer made right here in Oak Cliff.
I was going to say mentorship or apprenticeships, kind of, And that happens more with the trade. I mean, that's photographers. You would always assist for a while before you kind of started to get to learn and get some of the stuff. And that's kind of not an old school way of thinking about it, but
it's a little old world though. The idea of an apprenticeship. Yeah. It's not everybody goes through that.
People want to skip that.
Sure.
I think as artists, like they want to skip it and they want to get to money.
Right.
And like they want whatever they're selling to sell as good as someone who's been doing it forever.
Totally.
I mean, that's even Tyler at Oakwood Bread. He has someone in right now that's kind of in that realm. It's like, hey, I'm going to start learning from the baker. And it's
super attractive to probably like, I'm going to take the shortcut because I think I can sell this one piece. But then you quickly learn, like, you need time. You need time. Level. And time is, being patient is hard.
Yeah. And like when you're like, say, baking, like, when you're first starting out and like you're getting okay, like you make some good things at home.
People are like, I'll buy this. You can start.
That is not the same.
Just start now.
Early signs of success versus like consistent success.
And he's learning the whole other side of it, which is the actual work. And and so I think like with starting early, like I did learn like that was too early, and I can now tell you don't do that. But I should have took like 2 years of like and like worked some. I was a server too, so I should have served tables harder and like apprentice somewhere if I could go back. But I got really blessed and had good mentors pretty quickly because I guess you would say third cousin, my father's cousin, he's in his 80s. His name's John Williams. He owned the ceramic supply in Dallas. This big warehouse where they make the clay, they mix the clay, they have a ceramic store that his daughter built. Like it is like an operation. And we're lucky in Texas to have 3 clay suppliers, one in Dallas, one in Austin, and then one in San Antonio, and then a supplier in Houston. So like, but these places in those 3, they make it and like actually bag it and then ship it to places to sell / schools buy tons at a time. Et cetera, et cetera. So my cousin just so happened, like, and I didn't really grow up around John too much because my parents' age gap was so different, but I knew of him, but he like just plugged me into mentorship, and like he had a studio at basically it's like the clay as it used to be the clay supply, and then there was a warehouse next to it where they did industrial, like Acme brick companies and like big brick casting toilets and like things like that, nature sinks, and so all that needs like materials. So like they would that was their big business, and like so that was in this other side. And then he had built a studio where he had a big gas kiln, he had 3 big electric kilns, like all the stuff, and like his equipment, like, and he retired. He stepped away from pottery. He's a good potter, and he stepped away. And he just kind of has things there. And then this guy that worked along him named Steve Sprinkle was there, and he has been doing pottery since around the 70s. And he does like reenactment pottery. So he goes to events all over the country, and then he's dressed the time, canvas tents, and all that stuff, and then real like rustic looking work.
More rustic,
and like
so
just traditional pottery.
So you had some connections.
Yeah, like real fast.
Yeah, that's
like so. I'm blessed.
Incredible.
Like most people don't get that. And not only was I plugged in with Steve over there and all of my cousin's old equipment, it was also connection into the clay suppliers.
That world.
And it's just understanding how it works and all these things. And then Steve, the other was like Steve and Steven over there. Steve was my first. My cousin took me there, and he was like, look at this and look at this. And it was like my first time to see like 50 mugs in a row and 100 bowls and like, just production pottery.
Yeah.
To me now it's very normal, but back then was, wow, like this is how you make a living at it. Yeah. Like this is not.
You can scale this.
And, for real.
Yeah.
Like, and like you can make money at pottery. You can. And but you can't do it doing it the lazy route. And like it takes hard work, just like anything else. And like making a good product is one thing, but making a good product fast is another. And like orders pile up, people want their stuff, and then it's customer service,
right?
And like,
Yeah,
and
you're
like,
running a whole business.
Yeah,
Like,
small business ownership.
business
Like,
out of
and
it,
that's
yeah.
so much
but
to it.
art, I think art, and I don't want to offend anyone. Like
Yeah.
an artist, I'm gonna talk to artists for a minute. I think artists get too stuck in the art, and then they get swallowed by business, and they get swallowed by taxes, and they get swallowed by just everything they're not particularly good at, and I'm not either. I'm luckily have a wife that does all that for me.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
I didn't have it before, and I was a mess.
Yeah.
Lydia, thank you. I was
Shout
a
out to Lydia.
mess, like with just organization
Yeah.
and business, and I understand more now that I've walked through it. But for the beginning, like I had no idea what was going on at all. I didn't know what a budget was. I didn't know what budgeting for a business was versus personal. I didn't know any of these LLC and like all these things, which I know now. But it takes years to like kind of grasp all these concepts, and then at the same time you're trying to learn this art skill.
Yeah, it's like a
So,
craftsmanship in art. That
yeah.
was the best advice I got. And
Yeah.
I've said this before on the show, but like photo mentor of mine said, don't like jump out of school and go to, I was doing photography. He was like, don't go to art school. Like make sure you learn business alongside this, because so many people focus just on the art side. And he's like, and there's amazing artists that just don't have a career in this because they just didn't understand that side of it. Not to say that that's not important,
It's sad.
but it is.
No, the starving artist trope is there for a reason.
Yeah.
It's a
They
real
could be
phenomenon.
geniuses,
Because
but-
it happens to most of them.
Right.
Like,
Yeah,
it really
yeah,
does.
yeah.
Like it swallows 90% of them.
Yeah.
And
Like on that line of thinking, like how do you differentiate yourself with people that are out there? Because there is that side of this that is artistic. Kelsey and I are friends with this is gonna be hilarious. A ceramicist in Iceland who was explaining to us once, like he takes all the volcanic ash and like puts it in his clay, I guess,
cool.
or I don't know. Like there's like a way to like
that's
make
cool.
it part of like.
Yeah.
And that was his vision of this. I'm sure other people are doing it there. It's not the first one to do it, but
Sure.
how do you like differentiate yourself or kind of bring some of that art into it?
Like making it different, or
Sure.
like
Style difference.
I think like the style thing kind of comes from like who you're around. I can kind of like continue the story of how I got into this with this point.
Love it.
You make yourself unique, I think, by relationships. And I think you make yourself unique by we know each other on not just business level, but how is your kids?
Yeah.
How is this? Like, you can have the prettiest product in the world with diamonds all over it, and it's just like shiny as all get out, and it could be worth what you want. But I think when you buy something like at a show, or you like walk in an event or like a trade show, do you stop and talk? Like, do you buy the things mostly? At least with me, I buy something. I'm inclined. I keep hitting this mic. I'm inclined to buy when I have a personal interaction with the person. But if they're on their phone, they don't care. They got the coolest art, the coolest photos, the coolest anything. But if I come by their booth and they're just on their phone, it's like, do I care about your product more by looking at it and go, wow, this is good stuff, than you do on your phone? So I think there's
human
like
connection.
Yeah,
for
I
sure.
don't know if like I think my pots are good, and I think I am proud of my work, and I have a little bit of a flair that I kind of like developed, I guess, over the last 8 years of like my first teacher, she did this. My mentor, he's very traditional, and then like I had a modern artist, and then like you're around all this stuff, and it's like also like Instagram, like you see stuff on Instagram, like Japanese culture is really interesting to me, and just like how they work, and like just learning all these different techniques and all this. I think that all style and all that comes with persistence and time, and I think any art and any skill, it doesn't have to be art, is a pursued interest, and I don't think anyone's just naturally good at it. Is anyone just naturally good at drawing? Or was that the kid in the back of the class like literally doodling every single day, and then they're all of a sudden they're just a beast of an artist? Like they were back there
doing that for 20 years.
Yeah.
Right. Like I definitely think you're onto something there. I think there's like some people have a proclivity for like sculpting or ceramic work or painting. Like some people just, they could put 10,000 hours in and they'll be a heck of a lot better than they probably would have been.
Yeah.
But some people also have that.
The
So
natural
I think it is
talent
balance.
kinda-
I think there's some in there of you've got good genetics on this particular line of.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think you can have that, and if you don't put in the hours, then it's like you'll never achieve what you.
Yeah. And I think, like, back to the
capable
point
of, I guess.
earlier, like, they put all their effort into the art
Yeah.
and none into the business.
Right.
And I had the same professors telling me, take a business class of this. And it's just like, most artists are like,
Yeah.
you know, and I was too. And like,
Yeah.
do I wish I did? Yes. I took one business economics class and I
Yeah.
failed.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not taking any more business classes.
Yeah. You're like, I'm out.
I'm
I
not
gotta
this
get out
smart.
of here.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that kind of scared me away.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
like, bless YouTube.
Yeah.
And like
YouTube
I've learned so
University.
much from
Yeah.
investing,
Yeah.
just like entrepreneurship. Like it's like drinking information from a fire hose.
For sure.
But find one person who resonates with you and like buy into what they're saying if they're showing proof
Yeah.
and try.
Yeah.
And like I think like that. I think a lot, like everyone has a different opinion. Like invest
Oh,
here.
for sure.
Do this.
Yeah.
Do that. Or sell your work then and do this. Like pick one that makes sense. And then like I kind of did the same thing in like mentors and all that. And like I guess to continue it on, like the style and everything like grew, I would say mostly like through apprenticeships and like mentorships. And then now I just kind of make a bunch of stuff that I made in the past that I like.
Nice.
And or orders, which mostly I would say like 90% of my time goes to orders nowadays, which is like logos and et cetera. So that's where you match, like say they all need to be 20 ounce and they all need to be like at least around 20 ounce. When you're starting out, that is the most, like if you do that, if I took those orders in like the beginning, I was like, it took me like hours to do them.
To throw,
So now
yeah.
would be like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But you pay for you get the reward of the labor of like learning the
Paying
skill.
for the expertise
Yeah,
in
for
said
real.
thing. Yeah, speaking
Yeah.
of those 20,
You wanna-
let's grab a 20 ounce.
This has to do with y'all.
Yeah, look at that.
So these I'm working on, but like it has y'all's logo, Oak Cliff Brewing.
This is
we're good.
the Oak
I
Cliff
hate this
Brewing.
mic.
No,
I'm
you're
just gonna kill your mic.
This is the Oak Cliff Brewing Co. Mug Club.
That's it.
Mug Club membership that's
Yes.
going on. So
Created
this
by
is handmade
yeah.
here in Tyler Station
Yeah.
by Steven.
Yeah, so logos, etc., are a little more work, and like they do take practice, like getting them straight and like making sure they don't pop off, and like all that comes with like. And I learned all this from my first mentor, and like being around him, seeing him do a billion of them.
Yeah.
You kind of you
Learn tricks of
yeah,
the trade
yeah.
of sort.
Like over in Japan, like whenever they're, this is coming from hearing things. I've never been over there, but they have their apprentices sweep and mop for a year straight. They don't even touch clay, and they're wedging clay. They wedge it. They're not throwing.
Yeah.
So and then they'll put them on a wheel. Now have them throw a very simple cup. And then they'll say make 100, and they'll make 100, and then they say, and they'll dump them, and then wedge it all back up and make again. And that's kind of how Japan is with the ceramic art, and that's why it's taken so seriously there. And that there's towns there that are all potters. Like 90% of the town population works in ceramics, and they're like been there forever, and like, but they take it super seriously. And I think that's lost over here. I think like how seriously they take their apprenticeships and stuff does not happen over here in
I
America.
mean, where else does that happen? Apprenticeship culture,
I think
Not here.
what trades in America? Like, I only know.
Well, I think of
photo
European
stuff.
trades,
Yeah.
honestly,
Yeah.
like even
Yeah.
glass
Yeah.
blowing.
I mean,
remember-
baking. It is funny. It's like, okay, the baker has an apprentice. Like Sean Springer,
Sure,
he
yeah.
has like woodworking. It's more.
I think it depends on what
Yeah.
you're doing, because like
Yeah.
if it requires a lot of equipment, wheels, kilns, all this
Yeah.
stuff, like tools, like it all takes. It's like all the stuff that I have in my studio was acquired over 8
Yeah,
years.
yeah, yeah. It's-
like
it's,
when you're starting, you don't have
yeah.
it. Like
Yeah.
so, I think, and with woodworking, tons of equipment, and then
Right.
like,
Yeah.
but and baking, but like if you're doing photo, you can go on YouTube, find a guy to teach you. Like
Yeah.
you really can,
Yeah, for
and
sure.
like now they're gonna really teach you that.
See,
that
this is the
eye
thing.
that you have, that you develop, that takes years to
Well,
even
this is what I
develop.
was gonna
like,
say. This is. I'm sure you run into this with ceramics. It's like, well, people could probably do, like, go quick to the cell.
Oh, way.
On that. Do what?
wave, yeah,
Way
yeah,
too quick.
Yeah,
On it. Yeah.
You've been bringing up YouTube. You've got a YouTube presence, social media presence.
Right,
Talk to us
yeah.
about like
social media rabbit hole.
Yeah, talk to us
man.
about like what, because you share. I love that you share your process. I feel like
Yeah.
you're showing people
Yeah.
what you're doing, how you're doing it, and you're inviting them into the journey that you're on.
I can definitely tell you about social media and dumb it down because I think so many people overthink it. You know, it's really just posting, but posting meaningful content. But I'll continue my story while I tell you about this because I took it more seriously when I opened. I was done with apprenticeships and I was opening the storefront in Bishop Arts right down the road from here, and it was a 670 square foot little gallery slash, situation with a workshop.
Yeah.
And it was really gorgeous, 1920s home, I think,
How cool.
30s, and it was like David Spence.
Yeah, David Spence building. Yeah.
Super. You
Well
should
done.
interview him.
Yeah. We'll need to have him
that's
on
Get
the-
for
David
sure.
on.
Yeah,
That's
he's
a good
cool.
idea.
But he's a good guy, and like he really did this house right,
Yeah.
and like so I was there for a while. It's just Bishop Arts. The long story short on that, it was good, and we learned a ton. The business got streamlined. We understand taxes. We understand, all the overhead that comes with running a shop. It's not easy, and like you learn something new every day. Something that costs money, you learn every day.
Yeah.
And it's just like, this, and then that, and then this, and it's just like, it starts to suck the fun from a hobby.
Yeah.
Out.
It's so accurate.
And like,
Yep.
and not that I didn't have a good time, and I was super proud of what we
What you're
did.
doing. Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it was just Bishop Arts is getting expensive.
Yeah.
And like $500+ up every time you re-sign. And it's just like, at some point,
Sure.
we kind of looked at it and we're like, really, is it that? If our
You're
percentage,
getting that much value
you got to
out of
really
that,
look
yeah.
at your percentages. So many small businesses are under operation right now that should not be. They're doing it out of passion and love for it, but it's really going to swallow them in the end. And sometimes you need to know when to cut it because I think, and that's not to say you're done with business. The business it goes like what do they say? Like most hyper successful people have had X amount of businesses. It's okay to cut it and take what you learned and do something else. It's a percentage thing. It's purely numbers. Numbers in your spreadsheets don't lie. Like if your rent is X percent of your margin, it's not working. And that was one of the hardest pills to swallow. It was like I could keep going if I want to make little tiny bits of money after I got rent and everything. And it just
at a certain point, you're paying David Spence.
Yes. Love you, David. But yeah, and that was a hard,
Awesome.
That was a hard pill to swallow.
That is a tough one, though.
And it's like, and shout out David because he was like,
We love David.
He
Yeah,
was
I was just
the
getting-
first one to like really keep it real with me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And like he did not treat me like just he paid, keep it going. He like actually cared, and like it was a really
What is a
like
good
hard
shot?
pill to swallow.
It
And,
was, yeah.
you don't want to let it go.
Yeah.
In the moment, you're like, do everything you got to do to keep it going.
Yeah.
But
Well, you had a good thing going. Like I can
Yeah.
see that too, because that shop was part of Vessels, right?
it
Like
was
the-
Vessels at the beginning.
Yeah.
I partnered with Hannah and Bethany.
Yeah, that's right.
Shout out
Yes,
Oasis.
they're great. Yeah.
Best plant shop in Dallas, if you ask me.
Yes.
And knowledgeable, good.
That's good relational.
Good people. And like I can't like thank them enough for like teach me how to use Square. Teach me how not that I didn't like kind of know how, but like really know how. And
Yeah,
like
the business.
and like this goes to this and this goes to that. And then did you forget to do this? Like they were like kind of like my mentors in business and successful plant shop. And then like they were just feeding into me and I was just soaking up like a sponge. And then it just kind of came to a point where I was like, hey guys, it just wasn't enough money for 3 people.
Yeah.
And like I was like, guys, I'm going to take it over. And David let me take over the lease. It was very generous. And like David basically gave me like a year shot.
Yeah.
And it just kind of came to the point, and I'm just being like brutally honest about it. Like it just came to the point, and like I think this is like at the beginning, it just feels like you don't want anyone on your Instagram or your Facebook, old high school friends, old whatever. You want to prove them wrong. You look at my store. Like I mean, we're human. Like you have these feelings and like it's like pride
for sure.
and
pride,
like and it really kills people. And like I should have listened to David from the first warning and said, "Cool, David, thanks for the opportunity. I'm going to do this now," and figured it out. But it was like, no, I want to convince him that I can do this. And then he was honest with me, and I should have listened at the beginning. It took me 4 months after to go, okay, I'm listening to you now. Can I move on? And then he let me. Very gracious. Landlords don't do that.
Yeah.
Like,
no, yeah, we're spoiled with a couple good,
they don't. Like just
really
like
good landlords in Oak Cliff.
Overall.
Today's show is brought to you by Waxspace. Are you looking for a place in Oak Cliff to connect and meet other neighbors? Then Waxspace is the place for you. Come join the Neighborhood Work Club, and for just $80 a month, you can get all the things you need to be productive at work. Why work from home when you can work from a place with other neighbors? We've got cold brew, fresh coffee all day, phone booths for your meetings. We've got a podcast studio and a lot of other amenities here. So visit thewaxspace.com to learn more and sign up today.
Like if you just look at renting in general.
Yeah, general
it's not
renting,
known
it's
to like
you're locked in.
Yeah, you're locked in. You commit, and I was committed. I was like, I'm going in to ask him like completely like, if he says no, like, absolutely, I understand.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
Yes,
Yeah.
like, but he was gracious enough to say, this is good. Like, and but yeah, like big shout out to him, and it was a hard pill to swallow. Like, a lot of pride had to be like put in, like enough pride to like talk about on a podcast. Like people don't like talk about their stuff. Like it was just not enough. Like it was profit, but not enough.
Yeah.
That's really what it came down to. Profit, but not enough. And Dallas is just expensive. And then and then it just was like, okay, let's keep this train rolling. I met a ton of people out here in Dallas, and especially Oak Cliff. I met a lot of people and a lot of fans and just
opportunity.
in
Oak Cliff.
Great support
Yeah.
locally. Like the Oak Cliff people like come back to the shop over and over and over.
Yeah.
Like I had really enjoyed my time at Bishop Arts, and like there was very hard times, but very rewarding. Like the magazine stuff, like Dallas Observer.
Tell us about
D
that.
Magazine and all these. Really, when it comes down to like magazines, I'm sure you all kind of know it's about relationships with, and you know, like editors and things like that, and like it's not that they just give it to you, but you know
Be in
people.
the know.
The Dallas Observer best ceramicist, I did not know about it. I don't know who did that, but so there was those. But like
It's legit, man. That's no small thing.
Yeah, but like D Magazine, you just like it's like. I think one of them took my class, and it's just like one of those things. Like it's just a relationship formed. It's like they've used pots for like shoots, and like it's like it's not that they just give things away, but it's just like, you know, it's back to the original concept. What makes you unique?
Yeah,
your relationships with people.
Yeah.
That is everything in life. And like, so I think I make pottery, and back in the day, it's a trade. And what do we used to do with trades? We used to trade. I'll do this, you do that. It's you know, it's life, and like I think that's a beautiful thing. I love working with ceramics because like I've done so many trades. I've gotten longboards out of trades. I've gotten cameras out of trades. I've gotten like just, you know, trade this for that, and like it's just I love the artist barter. The artist barter is fun.
Awesome.
The artist barter
You've
is
done this a number of times.
many.
It's so cool.
I think I got my dog out of a trade
Nice.
once. Yeah.
Yeah, like
There's
a chicken
there's
coop,
lot of
didn't
chicken
you?
coop. We got it all, man. It's
It's
crazy.
so cool.
The
Like,
artist barter,
but you
is
can't
for
do it
real.
unless you have a skill like
Yeah.
that. So like camera work too can be bartered pretty well. It's just, you know, you kind of learn these things, and that is fun. But like I ended up in Tyler Station with you guys,
Yes.
and it was perfect, and like it timed out well. Everything went smooth. The transition, the sink, getting the kiln hooked up, everything just kind of went whoop. And once I shut the shop down, it was like this massive ton of weight,
Overhead. Yeah.
$4,000 of overhead,
Yeah.
like including bills, and like
Yeah.
you want to know what it costs, like
Yeah.
and that's not even on the main strip,
Yeah.
like. In a 600 square foot, you're gonna be spending like $4 or $5 grand. And I was on a deal too, like so you got, as an artist, you're making how much work?
Yeah.
And I was like thinking about it the other day. I was like, with the orders I have in here right now, I have several hundred pots going. And it's like, if I was in Bishop Arts, all this would be rent.
You'd be renting just for that.
Yeah, and it's just like exhausting.
Sure.
And like we sold a ton of pots.
Yeah,
and
so-
we made profit. It was just not enough. And so this was a great gear shift. It was like, let's take all these connections that we have now and move over here and be available. And like, so far, so good. And like, I have orders already going into next year. And it's just like,
great.
God bless. And and I have weekends with my wife.
It's good.
Like, we didn't have that for a whole year. Just married. We got married, went on our 4-day little mini honeymoon at my uncle's lake house, came back, took over the shop from Oasis or from Vessels. So it was just like always grinding and like
always more and more and more.
We go to like estate sales and it's just like I used to have to pay $130 for someone to be at the shop all day, so I could even. Sale. And then like when I had to do that, we were doing something like a funeral or like something was like I had to like it wasn't hanging out and I didn't see the toll that took on my relationship with not even my wife, just like no friend time, like I had no time for like my life and like so. Shout out all the small business owners like that are doing it out there.
Well,
Like
I think it's easy to get swallowed up into that part of that where you're like, oh, do more and more and more.
Yeah.
We might be complicit in some of that, but like,
it's hard.
Within your wheelhouse,
do what?
Within your wheelhouse, like don't go too crazy, but
it's good to build,
yeah.
and it's like, this is life will pass you by kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's good to slow down. I'm
and
glad you're in the spot, man.
And sometimes that shift, like, believe me, when I was going from that to that, it's pride. I was fighting pride the whole time, like, no natural light, really, like all these things I'm so spoiled of. Yeah. But look, Stephen, you paid for that, like. And then now I love my little studio.
We love having you.
I love
the station, bro.
Not that I wasn't like optimistic or happy. It's that shift.
Mind
And
shift.
it's swallowing pride. It's the next chapter, the unknown. Is this going to work? Like I worked so hard for this. Now it's gone. Tears. Like all of it. And like you're battling, and it's just like. But once that battle was like. It wasn't closed. It was shifted, and like once that shift happened, it was like the weight was off.
That's pretty awesome.
Like
man.
and like I'm happier now, and like I feel a little bit more. And like with the social media thing, to touch on that, like relatively quick, I started taking social media seriously when I started Bishop Arts. When I started like kind of getting close to taking it over, I was like, I'm gonna post every day. I post every day. Is that the method to get a lot of followers? Maybe, but it's not the only way. But it's like you work out, and like when I tell artists post every day, they go, oh I'm like, do you want it?
It requires it.
Do you want it? Like, okay, I guess you don't want then don't talk to me about social media if you don't like if you're gonna gawk at a post a day. It doesn't even have to be anything crazy. A post a day, and you're a starting business, and you're it's the game you have to do it.
It's the game you got to play.
And I'm sorry that's the world it is today. And then people want the reels, and like you can't post like photographers for a long when Instagram shifted. It was like all the photographers hated the fact that they had to make reels. They they post these sick photos, and that's what they used to get a lot of likes, and then it shifted. The algorithm shifted, and then they're like, oh, they're complaining. I'm like, just put your pictures in a reel.
Just make it video format.
There's like a certain willingness
don't succeed. It's just like,
adapt.
are you gonna like, and then I took it, and then YouTube grew pretty good. YouTube's hard, and then like
it seems like it's all video.
YouTube, we can deep dive. We can do a whole nother podcast on social media, but YouTube. What it comes down to, forget the platform. It's content. It's meaningful content. It's something that helps someone else. It's not just hoopla. All my videos that do well is something that's most people haven't seen. All the viral videos are something that is different. I've had a few that's kind of normal go viral, but it's usually like something that people haven't seen. And like if you're providing that and you're doing it every day, it's gonna grip. And like, yes, your first 5 posts are gonna be 100 views, 50 views, nothing.
Just go.
And then when one kind of tracks to 500, it's like this traction. But you might have one video go like 7 million views, like goes crazy. and then the next one's 5,000, and then you're like, oh. It's like, suck it up, Buttercup. You don't get it every time. It's like I describe it like with reels, no pun intended. It's like casting a reel. Every video, you're gonna cast it. Sometimes you get like some minnows, and then like you cast it. Sometimes you get like a orca whale, and then like sometimes you catch it, and then like it hooks to a tanker, and it just takes and it just goes, and then you're viral. But what people don't see is like go to any famous person online and go to their views. Anyone with over 1 million followers and go to their stuff, it's going to be 30,000 views, 5 million views, 10,000 views, 20,000 views. They're not all.
You can't have
you can't blow
banger after banger
every time, and then
reel.
that grind right there is what people don't want to do. Now, I think every video I post could go viral. I post it with the knowing like this is viral potential, and I post it and it doesn't.
Fine.
You don't lose sleep over it because you know it's a process.
If you start posting every single day, that breaks the expectation of I worked really hard on this video, and then you get faster, and then you get like from going shooting all these different camera angles to one, and then maybe two, and then you know exactly what you want. You edit faster. It just makes you better, and like you're gonna learn video. You're gonna learn this works, that doesn't, and then like. You know what? The people who are persistent will succeed, and the ones who want instant gratification will fail. And that's how it's always been. That's how it's with everything. So social media, sum it up. If you're not posting every day at the start, I would highly suggest it. And if you're going to go, I don't want to do that, I don't really care.
It's what's required.
It's
part of the work.
And maybe not every day, but like set a goal.
It's the game.
I think every day is the game, the move. But like at least at the beginning, it's really not that hard. It doesn't have to be like
advice.
It doesn't have to be like an
crazy.
extravagant thing. It could be like podcasts are so killer for this, and like you just boom clip, boom clip. That's why podcasting blew. Podcasting blew because of reels.
And
then people wanting to get long form content and shorts. Podcast didn't blow because people love sitting around watching 3-hour long podcasts. People blew because they see a clip, and then you are interested in what they have to say. Shorts are the way. And you can make a short clip every day. It's not that hard.
I love it. Speaking of social, where can people find you? How can they get their hands on some Salter Pottery?
If you just type in Salter Pottery pretty much in any like social media, it'll pop up.
Okay.
Nice. Real quick, rapid fire.
Yeah, let's see some of your pieces here. We already got to see the Oak Cliff Brewing Mug Club.
This is the last pot I made in Bishop Arts.
Oh, look at that. Beautiful.
Is this visible?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Look at that.
Yeah. That one.
It's beauty.
That's nice.
And then I'm keeping that one, though. I can make you one. I can make you one just like I'm keeping that one. There's like a little ramen.
Oh, cool. I love that.
These sold like
That's
crazy.
a fun idea.
These are all like just kind of like my best sellers in the shop.
That's a good idea. I know a ramen lover
bowls are sick.
who would
These like just
love
fly
that. I
at
need
the
to get
booth.
one of those. That's good.
It's something you don't like see every day.
Yeah.
Like
You
I
really
said,
don't. Yeah.
Like just like a reel that blows up, it's just usually something that people don't see. And if you make something that people don't see, a lot of people don't have olive oil bottles in their they have like just the glass ones. So the olive oil bottles are killer sellers.
Nice.
And
like
we use them all the time. So
Nice.
this is like the thing I don't have to make they don't have to all look the same. So I kind of have fun with them. So those, and then I have just this little guy here, a little straw tumbler.
Oh, fun.
I can't take originality on this.
Oh, that's great.
It's a product.
Hey, every good artist steals. Isn't that right, Doug?
That's it.
Ta-da! Bowls, But you can find them on my Etsy. I'll have a new Christmas launch soon.
Nice.
Amazing, man.
Hope I gave you decent information.
It was so fun hanging out with you for a little
It's
bit.
kind of hard to condense like all those topics into like
We'll
one
come
little
back.
thing. But like, I would love to
Come
come
do
back and
more.
like talk
Again.
about just social media. Like, it'd be fun.
That'd be awesome.
Love it.
But yeah.
Great having you as a neighbor here at Tyler Station.
Yes.
Thanks for coming on the
Thanks
show,
for
man.
Yeah, thanks for pulling me out of my studio.
There you
Sounds
go.
good.
Hey, thanks for tuning in to this episode of The Hidden City. We hope you discovered something about Oak Cliff that you didn't know. If you enjoyed the show, I hope you subscribe to it on YouTube and then follow us on any of the podcasting platforms. Also, if you enjoyed it, please share with a friend. And thanks so much for tuning in.